Okay, so this is part two of the slow and cheap PC build. In the previous part, we have already installed or fully assembled the motherboard and components like CPU, memory modules, and all that stuff. So this one, part two, we're going to be actually installing inside of the computer case. So this is the case that I've had that was actually originally used in my gaming machine. And so I have since then swapped out the parts, and so now that we're using it for this application. So it comes with a power supply. Well, not come with a power supply. It was original power supply that was in there. My original goal was to actually run a RTX 3060 Ti, but I have sold that card since the before the motherboard arrived, and so we are only gonna have I believe 1060 Super for now. So anyways, what I have done so far is I have relocated one of the riser mounting thingies or whatever they're called. That is for the motherboard, or standoffs, I think it's called, to allow the motherboard to be mounted properly. I am test fitting the video card GPU right now. Again, this is a 1060 Super. I think it comes with a 6 gig of memory. This is not going to be the greatest video card, obviously, but it should play the old racing games that I have fairly decently. So for now, this is what we're gonna have, and I think eventually I may end up buying a 3060 or 3060 Ti, or maybe even 3070 for some more newer games. So anyways, so the video card is in there, and it's kind of mounted. I'm gonna rerun some of the cables. The next step is to get the power cable. I'm actually unplugging a few of the cables that I'm not using. For example, I had two of the 8-pin power cables for the PCI Express, which we don't need it in here anymore. And then I think there's a SATA power cable that I'm a secondary one that I also no longer need, and that's also being removed. So anyways, this is an 850 watt power supply. It's definitely an overkill for this setup. And so just pretty much rerunning the cables, make them somewhat look nice. I don't really want to spend too much time on cable management for the most part, at least not in the back. In the front, as you can see here, like it's go through the right holes, and so they're not really all over the place. But that just, for the most part, this is just so that it does not obstruct airflow. And then the back of it, I really don't care too much, as long as the case can close and no cables being pinched or cut. So I think I did eventually made it look decent. And so this one is going to be pretty boring setup for the most part. I just running a bunch of cables. One of the things that I think this main board is kind of interesting is that I wonder how the cooling is going to work. As I mentioned in the previous video, or at least part one, is that the solid state is underneath the heatsink, the CPU heatsink. So as you can see here, there's not going to be a lot of airflow in that area. I don't think, because there's the memory chips or modules that are in front of the SSD, and so we'll see how that works. And I think as of right now, I'm just running the cables through, and then plug in the audio, USB, front panel, buttons, USB 3.0 in here. Okay, so I think this is the last part of the part two. So there's actually 3 sections. So anyways, the front panel comes off, the magnetic mesh grill on the top comes off. the fans that I have, these are actually RGB fans. I have 6 of them that came out of an older case. And so for this application, I don't think I actually care too much about adjusting the airflow in here, because I'm going to have actually 3 120 mil fans in the front and then 2 on top, 1 in the back. So the 3 in the front are going to be the intake, and they're going to blow air inside of the case, and then the 2 on top and the 1 in the back are going to be exhaust fans. So there's going to be enough airflows, and there's holes all over the place too. So I'm not really worried too much about you know, the increasing airflow in there. I think for the most part, it just, you know, keep the flow going inside the case, so that the heat coming off of the video card and the CPU heatsink can actually be exhausted. And so yeah, so, you know, installing the fans, make sure they line up correctly, take a while. For some reason, I didn't actually pre-drill or pre-threaded the screws in the fans for some reason, so that it's actually causing a little bit more time to actually install. I think in the video we're gonna probably end up fast forward a lot of these, and there's really not that much going on other than running the cable nicely, getting the fans installed, make sure they face the right side, and the cables are, you know, nicely done. And then that's pretty much it for the second part of this video.